Hello, hello. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's Tamaya.
It's me, Joel.
So, as you can tell by the thumbnail, today is going to be a hot topic today.
Hot.
Hot. How did I get married with children?
With children.
Yep. How did I get married with children? So, how many of you would like to be married someday and you already have children? If so, the follow-up question should be, are you ready to be married? Are
Yes.
you ready?
Yeah. Not you feel like you're ready. Are you actually ready?
Well, I was where you are not long ago. I had already had my oldest two sons, and I came to a place where, I felt like I was ready to be married. So I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. We have four sons now. My first son I had at the tender age of 18. I was a freshman in college. So I had to balance being a full-time student and being a mom at the same time. 8 years later, at 26, I had my second son. And around 30 is when
She met me.
we met. So
Yes.
when we met, I already had two sons. So at that point, he had a very big decision to make. He had to decide. She has kids already. I don't want to deal with it. I'll go find somebody who doesn't have any children.
Yes.
Or he had to say, okay, well, you know what? I want to stick around, see what she's about, meet her sons, and see how it goes. And maybe I might be willing to take on the responsibility of being a stepdad.
Yeah. Well, and here we are.
Here we are.
You know the decision I made. So we're about to be 10 years coming up soon.
10 years coming up soon. 10 years strong.
Anyway, so if you see my wife keep looking down at the book or some notes, that's because we've been talking about this for a while. So it was so much stuff that we didn't want to just let it just slip off our head. Because usually we'll come and we'll talk off the top of our heads. But this time we say, you know what? Let's just come together, put our heads together, and come up with a few points with and we're hoping that maybe this can help you. So if you have pen and paper, you can jot down some of our notes too. If it helps you, just write it down and run with it. What the first one, babe? What was it again? Respectable?
Yes. Respectful.
Respectful.
So
go ahead, my dear.
First one, respectful. So when it comes to the word respectful, in context to my husband, I didn't feel like I was doing anything special. I should say that I didn't feel like I was doing anything like out of ordinary. But apparently, these are some things that
it's not ordinary now. But that's another topic. Let's talk. Go ahead.
Another topic. Yeah. So respectful. I listened when he spoke. Not only listen with my ears, but listen like with my mind, with my heart, and actually like took what he had to say. And if it was something that made sense, I actually acted on it. I gave weight to his thoughts. I cared about what he had to say. I cared about how he felt about certain things. And even if it was something that we didn't necessarily agree on, it didn't have to turn into an argument. Most times it didn't at that stage in our relationship anyway. There was a way for us to just talk and have a conversation without us having to yell, raise our voices or anything. We were able to just have conversation.
Well, I think that was easy for you because just respect was able to just come out of you and just for you to just speak clearly and I think you just had respect for yourself. I'm my definition of respect. Respect means to look again, read again, and respect means to look. She was able to look at herself and look at me, so she was able to assess things rather easy. Some of us don't have that so easily for us. Some of us kind of think, we know this is how he is, that this is how she is, and she was able to respect me and respect herself. That's what made it easy for me to stop her and talk to her. Anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. They need to hear from you because ultimately you're the one who made that decision to
propose. Of course. and that's a reality. Anyway, next point, my dear.
Next point is responsible. So when I think about the word responsible, we're both teachers, so we met at work. So that means like I was already in a career, he was already in a career, so we both, we're
Grown people.
we were grown, making our own money, and taking care of ourselves pretty much. So I had my two sons. I was co-parenting with my youngest sons. We were co-parenting, his father and I, but we were like doing okay. So like when we met, I wasn't like saying, hey, can you help me pay my car note? Hey, can you help me pay this? Or can you help me pay that? Like I need help. Like
you do
that wasn't happening.
Me through. I'm sorry.
So I said all that to say, I'm not saying that a man shouldn't help you, or you shouldn't. You might be in a place at some point where you need help. What I'm saying is, if he wanted to help, whatever he did it because he wanted to, not because I was asking him to, or I was hounding him to, or I was saying, I need this, I need that. Can you help me with this?
She never did it.
I wasn't doing that.
She actually never did it. She was very responsible. She never begged me for anything. She never asked me for anything, and she was just a responsible woman. And she was responsible even with the children. I can tell because they were always clean. They weren't dingy. They weren't talking back. They weren't rude. Yes, she was responsible with her finances as much as she can, but she was responsible even with the children. She was responsible with their mind, because the stuff that she was teaching them. She taught them to be respectful. She taught them to not be rude, and those are the things that even I got you may be looking at. He's watching to see, are your kids rude, or are your kids disrespectful? And because like disrespectful kids and rude kids can even stop a guy from even approaching you.
Away.
It can even stop him approaching you. So don't just be responsible. Like, I take care of my bills, I pay everything. Yeah, you can pay everything, but then if your children are rude, he's still ain't gonna come and mess with you. You know what I mean? So be also responsible with the child's mind as far as what you're teaching them and as far as what you want them to do. But don't do it to get a man. Just do it because that's what a good mother does. She teaches children to be respectful and be responsible with their words and responsible with their manners. Anyway, that's it. But that stuff like that, stuff that I noticed too. She was responsible and the kids weren't rude. That's why it made it easy for me to say, okay, all right, I could deal with that. Good, I'm sorry. Next point.
It's okay.
My dear.
Next point is reasonable. You have to be like reasonable. And I'm laughing a little bit because like in the society that we're in right now, like it's almost like common sense is not so common anymore. So it's like, are y'all able to have a conversation? Like, is he able to be honest with you? Is he able to tell you the truth without you being offended, without you getting an attitude, without you getting mad? And it's a natural reaction to maybe it doesn't feel good if somebody's telling you something about yourself, but if it's something like true and it's something that could possibly be affecting you in a negative way, it's like just listen, yeah. and be able to take it. Yeah. Like I remember I can't remember who it is, but I remember somebody saying feedback is the breakfast of champions, and I love it because it's like,
shout out Myron Golden.
That's Myron. Okay,
yeah.
See, I knew it was somebody, but it's like it's stuck in my head because a lot of times we don't like feedback, especially if it's not good feedback. It doesn't feel good on our skin. It doesn't feel good. Like it feels like, oh, somebody's criticizing me, or they're putting me down, or but you gotta be reasonable. Like you gotta actually think and look at what they're saying, and you gotta be able to be okay. Like you gotta be able to like I'm thinking about an experience right now, like my husband and I had, like before we were married, like there was a point where we broke up, and the breakup happened because of it was people in his family,
yeah.
and he told me straight up, like, you know, of course we got back together because, you know, but he told me straight up, like, don't be mad at such. Don't be. And I had a decision to make. Like, I had to say, you know, am I going to forgive? Am I going to get past it? Like, you know, do I want this man to be my husband? Like, am I willing to forgive? Or am I going to be silly and go around his family and have an attitude and be silly? Like, that's cray. Like, you gotta be able to be reasonable. Like get over some stuff.
And the fact of the matter is, she said it, and it wasn't that they didn't like her. It's just that they just loved me, because they didn't know her. They just had a concern because, you know, she had children before we married. So it wasn't that they weren't being like, you know, silly, because some of them like, they can't do that. She might be like, they didn't know her. They knew me and they just cared for me. So they just voiced what they said.
They were concerned for him.
You know what I mean? And in all reality, they should be. Just like if you had a child, you'd be concerned for your child, you know, because this is a big decision that we were thinking about taking.
It is.
Because we're talking about marriage. We're not talking about, you know, going to the mall and buying a pair of pants
that you get to try on and return if they don't fit well.
No, you know, like marriage is a covenant between you and God, you know, and for, you know, God is serious about covenants, you know. Better or worse, sickness and health, death to us part. That's what I believe, you know. But she was reasonable, you know what I mean. And even go back to the point from before, you know, not even the point, even this point, she was reasonable, because even when I spoke to her concerning the children, she was able to listen and just reason within herself, say, you know what, I don't quite understand what he's saying, but okay, well, I'll listen. Because like there'd be times when I would say something and say, you know what, that's rude, and she was like, really? And then she would stop and she would say, okay, I see that, that's rude, I can receive that. Or I might just say things, and she was able to just reason within herself and say, you know what, I'll listen. Even if she didn't quite understand it 100%, then at the moment, afterwards she'd be like, okay, now I see it. Because sometimes you don't have to understand everything at that very moment. Because sometimes, you know, it's almost like men have an insight for something, just like women have an insight for certain things. She was able to say, okay, you know what, I don't quite get it. But then after a while, she said, okay, now I see what you were saying. Mm-hmm. That's because, you know, my upbringing was a little different than hers. Not better, just different. So there were some things in my mind and my eyes that I could have seen because I went through it with my dad and with my family.
Yeah, and culturally, like we come from two different places. Like I'm born and raised here in the States, and
St. Thomas.
So it's like culturally, maybe stuff that I may be accustomed to seeing, or certain behaviors that
dysfunction
I'm used to seeing.
Dysfunction is prevalent in this country, and we're not perfect, but we're just saying, like, sometimes you like sometimes you're just swimming in it that you don't notice it.
You don't see it, yeah.
Anyway, so she was reasonable. What a wonderful, reasonable woman, you know. I love her still.
Praise the Lord.
Still. Praise the Lord.
All right. So our next R is realized. So when I think about the word realized, I'm going to tell you a little bit, like a story is coming to my head. I remember very clearly, like when I was pregnant with my second son. So this is, again, I'm 26 at this time. And I remember telling her, like, you know, hey, you know, I'm pregnant or whatever. And I remember her saying to me, Tamaya, are you sure you want to do that again? And like, I still remember it to this day. And my son, that particular son, he's about to turn 17 in a couple of days. So that's how long ago it was. But apparently the words hit me, and it made me realize something, because it stuck in my brain, and it made me almost stop in my tracks. And I was like, like, do I want to do this again? And that same son, when he got about 4 or 5 years old, he started asking me like, Mom, I want a baby sister, baby brother. Like, he wanted me to have another child. And I remember
like it's a toy.
Yeah, I remember telling him like no. I remember telling him like, no, I'm not having any more children until I am married. So at that point in my life, in my journey, in my stuff I had been through, I had just come to a place where I decided, okay,
and that was enough.
I'm not doing that again. I've done it twice, and I was doing things my way, not the way God wanted me to do. I was doing what Tamaya wanted to do, and that wasn't working out. It was So I just realized, and I had come to a place where I said I was not doing it. When I get married, I'm willing to have more, but I was like, no, I'm not having any more children until I'm married. So I had to realize some things.
It's just like how he was able to go to his mom. My stepson would say, I want another baby brother or baby sister. You know what I mean? Like, that's how children think. Like they think that it's simple, but it's really, that's a human life that you're caring for, and that person is gonna make an input or contribute to society in some way, positive or negative. So yes, you have to come to a point where you realize that like, this life is serious. This life is serious, and the choices that you make, they have consequences. So that's where we are. We just realized. So hopefully some of us just realized, just like my wife did. She realized, and I could tell that she realized just by the way that she cared, because I met her after all this, and I could tell the way that she was behaving and carrying on, and the way that she was. I could tell that she was different, different.
Yeah, we have that conversation often. Like thank God we didn't meet earlier. Like, thank God we didn't meet in our younger years, because we wouldn't have been ready for each other.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been ready for him, and he wouldn't have been ready for me. And that's kind of that's pretty much our last one.
Okay,
is ready. So it's like,
we gotta be ready.
If you want to be married, just make sure that you are ready. That you are ready. In a number of ways, mentally, physically, emotionally. What else do you think, babe?
Or you know what? You could just go with those 4 R's that we said: respectable, be responsible, be reasonable, and realize. That's how you know that you're ready. If you're not respectful, you're not ready. If you're not responsible, you're not ready. If you're not reasonable, you're not ready. And if you can't realize where you are, you're not ready.
Amen.
So get ready. Get ready. If you're not ready, get to getting ready. And if you're not getting ready, get up and go get ready.
Stop and analyze. Think about some things.
Yeah. So hopefully this was good for you. Hopefully this was beneficial for you. If you got some things out of it, share this.
Hit the like button.
Share and subscribe.
And share with somebody who you think might benefit from it. Some of your friends, your girlfriends who, I'm sure you all talk about it.
Yeah, because you met somebody who's not respectful. You met somebody who's not responsible,
but they want to be married.
You met somebody who's not reasonable. You met somebody who realized that they don't know where they are, but they say, I want a ring. Girl, you want a ring? You want some respect. You want a ring? Get some respect before you get the ring. Get some responsibility before the ring. Become reasonable before the ring, and realize before the ring. Then you'll be ready. Anyway, be blessed. Hopefully this was good for you.
See you next time.
Bye.